The climate crisis is accelerating. Wildfires, droughts, floods, storms, and other climate impacts are getting worse. Solar radiation modification, or SRM, might buy humanity precious time by cooling and limiting climate impacts, but it remains highly uncertain and possibly risky. Time is running out, and what we decide now could shape the future for generations. So what exactly is SRM, and how might it work?
The idea fundamentally is to create a planetary sunshade made, for example, from droplets that airplanes might disperse in the atmosphere to reflect a small portion of the sunlight and thus the energy, and reduce the heat in the atmosphere as a consequence.
Imagine a parasol or suntan lotion sprayed all over your body, and imagine this body is the planet Earth. What that parasol is made of is aerosols that are flying high in the stratosphere that are reflecting sunlight as it comes down to Earth, and therefore that cools the Earth. Scientists are fairly confident that this would work based on natural analogs they see in major volcanic explosions, for example, where huge amounts of aerosols are released, they go into the atmosphere, and the temperature is cooled very quickly.
But SRM's global implications bring real risks.
What scares me, frightens me the most is the rogue deployment or involvement of private companies, or even unilateral deployment by states of SI research.
If the strategies used for SAI result in changes that benefit certain regions but harm other regions, I think that could lead to huge disagreements, if not wars, between parts of the world.
There is this concern that we divert the attention from mitigation. It's the moral hazard issue.
Uncontrolled experiments, unequal outcomes, even global conflict. Without oversight, SRM could turn from a last resort measure into a geopolitical nightmare. So the question of who makes the decisions is critical.
For a lot of countries, especially countries in the global south, pointed out how hard it is to actually find information about SRM and how much more international the research needs to be.
The stakes are high, and there are many justifiable doubts. But publicly funded research may enable us to address concerns and close information gaps before choices are made for us.
To make sure that climate and intergenerational justice are principles that are taken into account, both in research and governance processes when it comes to climate intervention.
Two of the items that are most important to the governance of solar geoengineering are looking at the monitoring of the aerosols that would occur in the stratosphere. Right now, there is no global monitoring system in place. The other piece of governance is transparency.
We also need to weigh the advantages and the disadvantages, especially on the socioeconomic activities in the developing countries, where people are more vulnerable.
The climate crisis isn't waiting. SRM is a question we can't ignore, and one we must investigate. With responsible research, international discussions, and monitoring, we could empower tomorrow's decision makers to choose wisely and act in humanity's best interests.